What's going on today, Internet? This is Selfish with Retrospect, and I'm bringing you a device that looks like some of the other devices we've looked at before, but I promise you, it's brand new. Sit back and relax, we're not going to make this long, and we are going to visit the XU10, a brand new device that just got sent to me from Powkiddy. This is obviously not going to be an unboxing video because I obviously already took it out of the box, so I have yet to use the device. We are going to take a look at what comes in the box, though, so we can take a look at this real quick. So it comes with what I would call a case, or what, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't call this a case. It comes with what they would call a case. It's nice and fabricy. It's got some word paper, which is kind of nice to have. This one is actually kind of in depth, so it kind of talks to you about how to go through the menus and use Emulate, things like that. It has a USB Type-C. It has a screen cover, a USB card reader, and wipes for your screen cover. I do believe this is a production model. This here was shipped to me from Powkiddy, but they in no way have any part of this video. In fact, I don't even think this is manufactured by Powkiddy. Also, anything that I say or do in this video is my opinion and my opinion alone. It's not been influenced by anybody else. It's just a random gestation of my thoughts that are based off my personal experience. It says Magic X all over the place. It also has the world's loudest startup screen. We're going to do that real quick before we go over the I/O because you can't even turn it down really, which is insane. I mean, you can once it starts, but... Now, after you restart the device, it will do that again. Doesn't matter what your volume is set at. Just a warning. All right, let's go over the I/O real quick because this one is set up a little different than some of the devices that it seems to be trying to look like or act like. On the back here, we do have our shoulder buttons, which are low travel switches, which are kind of nice. They also don't really rattle a whole lot like some of these other devices do. You get your power button and your reset button on the back, which is new. Brand new. Now, this isn't a speaker. This actually only has a single speaker in it. This right here is a vent for the CPU. And hopefully it'll help because these other devices tend to get a little hot every once in a while. Over here on the right side, we do have our 355mm jack hole. We also have our menu button that has a G on it for some reason. I don't know if they thought about putting Google on here or what the deal with the G is. Cool. Below that, we do have a battery light indicator. We also have SD card number 1. This one right here holds your operating system. All right, we go to the other side over here. We do have our volume up and down and SD card number 2. Don't have one in there. I just literally got this about 3 minutes ago. This card right here, though, will be used to place additional games on the device. On the bottom here, we've got a nothing. What did I forget? Oh, I forgot the top. On the top up here, we have 2 USB-C ports. We have our regular one for charging, and we do have an OTG port for hooking things up. All right, on the front here, we have our D-pad. And honestly, it's a split D-pad. It looks very similar to a PlayStation D-pad. And it feels kind of like a PlayStation D-pad with the concaves on it. It feels pretty good. If you're starting select buttons right there in the middle with our face buttons, they are set up like an Xbox. So if you've been using emulators for a while, you might get a little confused because emulators are typically Nintendo fashion. These are set up like an Xbox. But I hope that didn't scratch through the screen. Look at that gouge. We do have our joysticks here, which have R3, L3, and then we have our speaker in the middle. New placement for the speakers, so it's actually the sticks aren't split apart so far. Kind of a nice little feature. Nothing on the bottom down here. All right, let's get that screen cover off. Ooh, that was one of the good ones. All right, we're going to take a look at this bad boy. And it's going to take me a while to realize that that there is not the power button. So we do have a lot of systems on here. I think it would be easier than scrolling through all these if we just go into the menu and we look at game collection settings. So you can... See, now that's where I get screwed up. I'm going to get screwed up because these buttons are backward. Game collection settings. There's 38 gaming systems on here right now. Everything from PSP, N64, and then you still have your NESs, Ataris, Master Systems, 32X, WonderSwan, which is interesting. They started putting that on some of these devices recently. I didn't see it for a long time, and now it's starting to show back up again. All your arcade stuff on there as well as Dreamcast. And if you don't want any of those systems, you can unselect them. That was probably enough to reboot it. Son of a, here we are. We're gonna what do we want to start with? Move through these menus using left and right or R2, L2 it looks like. Only one thing in the tools, which is controller test. Where do we want to start? We already know it's going to play the lower end stuff. This does have a chip that we all know about. I'll throw up the specs here on the screen. Hold please. This is rocking a 3.5 inch IPS full viewing angle display. It's 640 by 480. It's got an RK3326S quad-core 64-bit Cortex A35, clocked at 1.6 gigahertz. I don't know if you caught that right. It's an RK3326S. So it is a variation of the 3326, which we do review quite a bit on this channel, but it is a newer version. So we know pretty much everything a 3326 can do, some well, some not so well, just because, wrong button. I don't know who thought that load screen noise was a good idea, or the fact that you can't turn it down. It's one thing if it happens once, but my goodness, every time. All right, I'm going to skip ports for now. We will start with PlayStation. Here we got a little Castlevania on PlayStation. God, these buttons feel pretty good. I could probably just use these. Well, that's not in English. That's disappointing. All right, here we go. We got a little Castlevania on PlayStation here. We'll see how it goes. So far, it seems really smooth. Screen looks really good. It's a little warm or soft, maybe. I don't know since I played this version of Castlevania, and I guess there's some kind of filter on here. Okay, so Castlevania seems to work pretty good. So let's try another PlayStation game out real quick just to make sure. I'm not gonna lie, the controls on this actually kind of give the 353V a run for its money, and I didn't make any changes to anything on here. I have read somewhere that the test units had an issue with Super NES and the controls being wrong. I'm not sure if that's still a factor. All right, let's try out another game. We'll go to a different system now. We'll go to PSP, check that out. That's typically a system I want to play in a lot of these retro handhelds. I don't want to do Gods of War, but I know everybody's going to want me to. So I've made no changes to anything on this game. Just running it the way that it came. I don't know if we can check to see if there's filters on here, but it seems to be running pretty well. I've never really made it past the beginning of God of War. I usually just use it for demoing. I know everybody's sick of seeing it because everybody uses it, but it is kind of one that puts the CPUs to the test. Now, they do lock out RetroArch pretty well in this, so you can't get into do settings changes, but you can kind of back your way into it. You just can't see what menus you're in. That could be a problem if you're not familiar with RetroArch. What the hell is S? Press S to continue? What is the S key? Oh, start. Okay. I honestly didn't know that there was another version of the Blues Brothers. I'm so freaked out right now. This is awesome. Here's Blues Brothers on N64. I definitely will be playing this. Boy, he slaps like a girl. So this works. I'm wondering if they put Cruising USA on here, because that's kind of the one that is the telltale whether stuff works or not. Your hard hitter on these devices. So when you hit the menu key on N64 also, you don't get a menu. It just goes right back to the home screen. No, they were smart enough not to put Cruising 64 on here. I can play California Speed. That one is okay. I have no idea how hard this game is to process. I wanted to play some Cruising USA, but it was not available. Very smart move on their part. Now, when most systems get rid of Mario, this one did not. Here we are, we're going to test out Mario Kart on N64. Not the most difficult game, definitely not the easiest one either. It's kind of right there in the middle. Cool, so this seems to work just fine. And lastly, I want to try out GameCube, so let's give that a shot here. Not a lot of games on here. Crazy Taxi tends to be a harder one to emulate. It's kind of weird using R1 and R2 on here. I wonder if we can change that. Hold up real quick. Before I forget, which I already did because I'm editing the video right now, so editing selfish is saying, go down in the thingamabob. There's a link to Powkiddy to purchase this device. And back to your regular program. Crazy Taxi seems to work pretty well. You can run people over all day long on this little handheld. Got me an XU10. Ran over the neighborhood. Alright, let's see what else we can find on here. I've never played past this first beginning of this round either. On this game. Busting up my cool motor moves. Never said I was good at gaming, I just said I liked gaming. It's different. It seems to work out just fine. So I do like where the button is here. I'm not accidentally hitting it, though I never really had a problem with that before. All right, we're going to bust out one here real quick on Sega Saturn. It is occasionally one of the harder to emulate systems. Not sure why. Some processors, including this one, have had problems with it in the past, so I figure we give it a shot. But it seems like it's running at speed, and everything's working just fine. I would say all in sub 100 at a $70 cost. This is a great device. If you look at something like this, that's usually about $120. You know, you got these, they are 50, so maybe a little bit less money, but as far as controls and everything, buttons feel really good on this. They're in the right place, where these ones are just, there's no reason to have the joysticks on top on this device. It doesn't make sense to me. So these devices tend to be set up a little bit better. They all do have a 3.5-inch screen. The coloring I could show you is probably a little bit better on this device, though you would never know that if you didn't have one next to it. So I just play this. This is the device I bring with me everywhere I go. So I just know the coloring's slightly better, but you wouldn't know the difference. As far as I can tell, I mean, this thing is, for the money, I'd say it's pretty good. I mean, it is kind of falling in a weird category, though, at $70. It's kind of falling right between devices that do a lot more than it at 100, and some, even like this here, which will do everything the same pretty much at 50. Now, this does perform better in some areas, and that's thanks to the RK3325S, and I don't know what the spec differences are at this point. I haven't been able to find them. I looked for them when I knew this device was on the way, and I was unable to find those. So this device wasn't supposed to show up for 2 more days, so I'm not sure why it's here. Also, not the color they told me they were sending, so yeah, we got that going for us right now. I believe this was supposed to be white, but it actually works pretty good for contrast with these 2 devices, so I've got no complaints. Anyways, what do you think of the XU10? Is it a device for you? What about people looking for the 353V? Maybe this could sway some people to save a little bit of money. I mean, you are going to spend about $50 more to get this device, when this device pretty much does the same thing. Though this would be more like the VS, but very similar, just not having the Android front end. Let me know what you think about this device down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to rate and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Sharing helps grow the channel, and I'm more of a grower than a shower, according to my wife anyways, so help a brother out. Thanks for watching. Holy cow, you're still here. Well, since you're still here, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button so you can watch some more videos. You obviously liked it. You made it all the way to the end. Or you just wanted to see me make a fool of myself. Either way, you stuck around. Also, once you do that, check out one of these other videos over here. You'll probably find something that you like. Thanks for watching. I'm out.